Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for another edition of The Divination Table. Tonight's guest is Candelo Kimbisa. He is a gifted medium and diviner, a Palero, and spiritual worker of many years. Candelo is also the host of the longest-running spiritual radio show, Candelo's Corner, as well as its 12 o'clock somewhere. As a spiritual diviner and worker, Candelo uses the tools of the Congo shamanism to locate foreign entities and energies that have invaded the client's aura to help cleanse obstacles that could be causing problems in one's life. Candelo also conducts spiritual investigations to help you learn and connect with your ancestors and spiritual guides. So let me bring on Candelo. Good afternoon and good evening, my friend. How are you?
Salam alaikum. I'm absolutely wonderful and so happy to be here with you.
You know, I am so happy and glad to have you here tonight. It is such an awesome thing and an honor to have you. I just did your introduction, and I was letting people know that you are the host of one of the longest spiritual shows, the Candelo's Corner, as well as its 12 o'clock. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what types of divination you do?
Well, what types of of course my name is Candelo Kimbisa. The name Candelo derives from my introduction to the 21 divisions of Dominican voodoo. Okay. I've been initiated into Palo, almost going on 30 years now. Okay. If it's not already 30 years. What else? I'm a newly initiated priest of Orisha. I am an
Nice.
Old Orisha, a child of Chango. And what else can I say about me? I've been doing this for quite a while, brother. I've been doing this for quite a while.
And you also do root work too. It's not just
Yes, I'm also a root worker, a two-handed root worker. Yes, I've been doing that for quite a while also. What brought me to hoodoo and conjure and stuff like that, there was the link that I found between the Bantu Congo magic system and African American root work and conjure. And I just love the similarities in it. You know, the gathering of foot things, the making of powders, and all these things there are definitely Congo derived. I like to say that, and a lot of people may disagree with me because, now, they put in this big old thing over it. But I like to say that hoodoo, conjure, and root work is a sister religion of the Bantu religion.
Oh, I believe that. Everything, especially in a lot of the Afro-Caribbean type traditions, all comes from Africa. So we had, the Native Americans, and the Native Americans did their healing and their herbs, and they had their own style. But root work is completely different. It's not, not the same as, the people living off the land. It was more something they had to do in order to improve their life. It wasn't just, this is the way of life. It was, we need to lift ourselves. We need to make our lives better. We need to get down and dirty.
Exactly. Because, necessity is the mother of all inventions, right?
Yes.
You see everybody beautifying root work, conjure, even Paulo these days. Okay, everything has to be beautiful. Everything has to be this. Everything has to be that. And it's just, in Spanish we call it invention. Okay, people say that it's grown into and it's more. What do you call this? Something metamorphosized or whatever you want to call it into whatever it is today. No, they've turned it into this because they want to make it more acceptable. I call it all the time. What I'm seeing now is, housewife hoodoo.
I like old style. I don't like things changing. I like the roots of where things come. Mm-hmm. As we change and morph and recreate and redesign, we also water down.
Exactly.
And we get farther away from the true.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. And of course, this show is about divination, and you wanted to find out a little bit about the way that we divinate. Well, that I divinate. Okay.
Yes.
I use several things. My first divination tools were the Spanish brisca cards.
Yes.
Okay. Which were, the Spanish playing cards. Okay. Right. That's the first thing that I learned how to divine with. Okay. But as I got more into, Palo Mayumbe and when I got initiated into, my main muerto or my main ego, you tell me that's for girls. Leave that alone. The macho attitude of it. You understand? So, he would tell me you got to. I'm hearing an echo. He would tell me things like, you need to start learning how to throw chambalongo or throwing shells or throwing that. Leave the cards for the women. But later on in life, after I learned how to divinate with the cowrie shells and not cowrie, I'm sorry, with the chambalongo and with the shells, he started giving me a little bit the more leeway, and then I picked up the Rider Waite, which I did not like. Okay, and then I settled on I settled on the Lenormand. I love the Lenormands for reading.
I love Lenormand cards.
Exactly. I mean, this is my go-to deck. This is what I actually, when I decide to read cards, that's what I read.
You know, I find them very straightforward, to the point. You know, there's really not a lot of leeway, you know, when you're reading the Lenormands. If you need, you know, quick yes or no's, if you need to find out what's going on, it's just, boom, here it is.
And let me ask you something, Michael, and just for the sake of accent, because I normally feel these things from people. Have you picked yourself up a bone set yet?
Yes. And I have Robert Lucas's Ancestor Healing set, which has actually morphed. Now it's about 110 pieces, and I don't use the Congo Cosmogram yet, as I'm still in my learning the basics on how to read.
The reason I asked you is because I am a very good judge of character, of who should be reading bones, and I really think that you would make a really good bone reader.
I appreciate that. It is one of my things that I have picked up recently, that I have really begun expanding and learning, and you know, trying to make it more of my divination style, because I do feel really connected to the set that I currently have right now, which is still currently growing. But I don't know, it's the connection that I have with them, you know, the bones, the shells, the little curios, even charms, you know, tea charms from, you know, I read tea cards too. You know, it's a mix of so many different things.
Well, you know what I started doing, actually, and I started working this a couple of years ago, okay? I would throw a simple 5-card spread, right? A horseshoe spread. I don't know if you know what a horseshoe spread is.
I vaguely know. I don't normally use it myself.
Okay. Well, a horseshoe spread is a spread that is with 5 cards. Okay. It goes up and it goes down as like a horseshoe.
Yes.
Okay. So it says where you are now. What is your next step or move? What are your obstacles? What are your strengths and fortitudes? Last but not least, what is the final outcome? Okay.
Okay.
So I would take myself a big mat. I would take myself a mat or a big table, and I would put this spread out on top of that, right? And then I would throw either my chamalongos or my bone set upon it, okay? So when I would throw them, now I get a better understanding of what's going on and what's not going on because of proximity of the bones to the cards.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
So, yeah, it gives me such an in-depth reading when I'm reading someone that I've knocked people's boots off. Okay? So, you know, you should also try it. You should try that. And I also tell your listening audience to try new things when reading. Okay? There is no set handbook for divination. Right. I don't believe so. Okay? All you need is you, the tool, and some connection in the spirit. I do not like people that say, well, you know, tarot cards and this and divination, you know, has nothing to do with spirit. Well, you know, if it doesn't have anything to do with spirit with you, well, you need to go on ahead and leave divination alone.
Yes. Because you have to be connected to your spiritual guides, your ancestors, your higher self, you know, to be able to process and transform whatever spiritual message is coming in so that your client can understand it.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know,
my godmother, Chango Dina, used to tell me all the time, she says, during divination, or even during a mesa blanca, when you're doing a misa.
Yes.
She didn't care. She said, she would tell me, I don't care if you see Mickey Mouse dancing up on top of the thing. You say it. All right? Because you don't know what type of connection this person may have to Mickey Mouse. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no.
So that's
completely.
what she tell me. Huh? See, because a lot of people spend their whole lives trying to get away from these messages or get away from these things that they need to tell people. And guess what? Their spirit turns around and stops telling them shit.